Home matches, 3 in each of the last 2 Wednesdays.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. You know, it's not just been a variety of players. It's not coming from just one guy, but it's coming from in a variety of ways, whether it's restarts, rebounds, guys being
for the Indy 11, and they hope for similar results to each of the last 2 weeks. They take on one of the best teams. In each of the last 2 Wednesdays.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. You know, it's not just been a variety of players. It's not coming from just one guy, but it's coming from in a variety of ways, whether it's restarts, rebounds, guys being in the right spot, guys ball slotted across. They're scoring with multiple different guys in multiple different ways.
And of note, they have switched the formation and stuck with it. They'll be playing contest. Now, when these 2 teams played back in early May, it was a 0-0 draw. And the Indy 11 have been a bit more conservative away from home than they have been at Lucas Oil this season. For Pittsburgh, this is how they played all year. 15 clean sheets from 3 different goalkeepers.
Yeah, and I was talking to Coach Lilly today, and I asked about how they're so solid defensively, and he says, we've bought in from the beginning. Our top line defends hard, our midfield defends hard. It's not just tightening things up in the back. The whole club believes in it.
The Pittsburgh Riverhounds visit the Indy 11 for their only visit of the season. It's the last 2 times these teams will see each other until the end of the season. The Wednesday Night Warriors are back in action for a 3rd successive Wednesday night. It is a midweek home match for the Indy 11, and they hope for similar results to each of the last 2 weeks. They take on one of the best teams in the entire USL, and from a defensive standpoint, clearly the stingiest. It's the Indy 11, it's the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, it's Indy 11 Soccer on My Indy TV and ESPN+. As far as what this match means in terms of the playoff picture, well, frankly, it means a lot. A Louisville loss in surprising fashion to Toronto FC2 last night keeps the standings more compact, and each of these 2 teams know it's a chance to climb the ladder as the playoffs get ever closer in the Eastern Conference. Alongside Brad Hodder, Greg Rakestraw with you. Thank you for joining us, as always, for Indy 11 Soccer. And yes, a loss last night by the defending USL Cup champions means tonight's match is really an opportunity for both teams.
And you take a look at that table and how many teams, we just can't seem to separate from that 8th spot. And so 3 points tonight does give you some breathing room and put you in better place.
All right, so these 2 teams really not over the course of the entire season, but as of late have been playing drastically different styles. We start with the home squad, the Indy 11. They have suddenly been goals ablaze over the last couple of home matches, 3 in each of the last 2 Wednesdays.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. You know, it's not just been a variety of players. It's not coming from just one guy, but it's coming from in a variety of ways, whether it's restarts, rebounds, guys being in the right spot, guys ball slotted across. They're scoring with multiple different guys in multiple different ways.
And of note, they have switched the formation and stuck with it. They'll be playing a 4-3-3 again in this evening's contest. Now, when these 2 teams played back in early May, it was a 0-0 draw. And the Indy 11 have been a bit more conservative away from home than they have been at Lucas Oil this season. For Pittsburgh, this is how they played all year. 15 clean sheets from 3 different goalkeepers.
Yeah, and I was talking to Coach Lilly today, and I asked about how they're so solid defensively, and he says, we've bought in from the beginning. Our top line defends hard. Our midfield defends hard. It's not just tightening things up in the back. The whole club believes in it.
The Pittsburgh Riverhounds visit the Indy 11 for their only visit of the season. It's the last 2 times these teams will see each other until the end of the season. We'll talk more about that throughout the course of the broadcast. As always, we thank you for joining us for Indy 11 Soccer here on MyIndy TV and ESPN+. Back at Lucas Oil Stadium, the Brickyard Battalion gearing up for tonight's contest and a game with significant playoff ramifications. The clean-shaven Dylan Mares in the Indy 11 getting ready for the challenge of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Time now for our starting lineups presented by Honda Manufacturers of Indiana, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. What have you seen from this 4-3-3 that has changed things up for Indy?
They're pressing higher up the field. They're creating more opportunities from it, and I think that that's going to be so pivotal in how this game plays out with Pittsburgh.
Ben Spies has had a goal in each of the last 3 home Indy 11 matches. Now for Pittsburgh, they've got some key pieces that are not playing tonight. One of their leading midfielders, and thank goodness I'm only going to say his name once, Thomas Van Kegezeel. Close enough. He's played in every match this year for Pittsburgh. He is not playing tonight because of a yellow card accumulation, and they're without their top goalkeeper in Dan Lind. Mike Kirk, who has played 3 times this year, does have 1 clean sheet. He gets the nod this evening for head coach Bob Lilly.
Yeah, but you look at Nico Brett and Cristiano Francois, and those 2 have been providing steady offense all season. So I think they've got a couple of lineup changes that everybody deals with at some point in the season, but they've got the pieces that can manage it.
Keeping opponents out of the back of the net. That has been, well, that's always the job for the goalkeepers, but these 2 teams have had keepers that have done a great job of it all year. Owain Fawn Williams was seconds away from his 10th clean sheet of the season when the Indy 11 gave up a late goal and gave up 2 points against Atlanta United 2 on Saturday night. And again, his opposite number. One of 3 keepers that has seen time this season in Mike Kirk for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. His backup tonight is Nathan Ingham, who has not appeared in a match this season, but we know him well from his days at FC Edmonton the last couple of years. But Kirk is the guy that gets the nod in this evening's contest.
But you look at that stat that was up on screen as you're showing Kirk. He's 2 games started, 3 shots faced. 3 shots faced.
This team does simply not give up goals. As always, we thank you for joining us for Indy 11 Soccer here on My Indy TV. This is the 5th of that stretch of 7 matches in 22 days for the Indy 11. They have alternated wins and draws over their last 6, and if that pattern were to hold, that would be a win tonight for the Indy 11. And a high level of physicality already in this match, some 30 seconds in. Going to be given away by Eugene Starikoff. Ioze will win it back temporarily before Pittsburgh will restart. And these two teams last played on May the 11th. They will play one more time this season. That match will be in Pittsburgh. And if strength of schedule mattered in the USL's postseason decisions, the Indy 11 would be in great shape. They play 4 teams 3 times over the course of the season. All 4 of those teams currently above the Indy 11 in the Eastern Conference standings for the top 5 teams in the East.
The comfortable part of that is when you do get into the playoffs. These are the teams that you face the most. You got the most film on them. You got the most on-field experience with them.
Ferreira gives up the early corner kick. 5 in the box here for Pittsburgh. Ball sent in, steered out by Carl Ouimet. Ouimet had the goal for the Indy 11 in their 1-1 draw against Atlanta United 2 on Saturday night. Ouimet's 2nd goal of the season. Ouimet goes to the turf. No whistle either direction. Nico Brett with a left foot. Carlisle Mitchell gets in the way. And Pittsburgh continues on the attack here early in this match. Looking for the back post, Ferreira. And Fawn Williams cannot track it down in time. He'll give up yet another corner kick. So Fawn Williams testing the legs early in this one.
You gotta like how Pittsburgh's come out. I mean, they've just been on fire. Just keep dropping balls into the box.
And Zemansky to take this corner. Formerly of the Portland Timbers. Ball headed up, not down, and now a moment to breathe for the Indy 11. Head coach of the Indy 11, his first season, is Martin Rennie. See Phil DeSantos by his side. Of course, Martin formerly the Vancouver Whitecaps, the Carolina Railhawks. And his last 3 years coaching in South Korea, did not coach a year ago, but has led this team to a very solid start in their first USL campaign. Matt Watson. He and Brad Ring have been alternating wearing the captain's armbands as of late. Kirk is away from his net. McInerney trying to set up an angle. And Jack McInerney with his 8th goal of the season. Pittsburgh doesn't do that very often. The Indy 11 out to a lead in minute number 4.
That's a fantastic ball over the top. And I think Kirk misread it. Came out a little bit too far. Trust your defender in there. There's too much ground that you've got to cover as a goalkeeper.
So Jack McInerney gets his 8th goal of the season. And again, this is where we point out, this is the 3rd string keeper that is in net tonight for the Riverhounds.
And just a great ball by Matt Watson just to recognize it. But you got to trust your defender in that position to get back and give you the opportunity to just take the shot from 20, 25 yards out.
So a position that Pittsburgh has been so rarely in this year because of how few goals they have allowed. They are trailing early in a match. Opportunity here for the Riverhounds, except player is offside. Cristiano Francois, the guilty party. There you see Bob Lilly. And Bob is a gentleman you know quite well from your days together in indoor soccer.
He was a staple. He's been in Pennsylvania for a long time with the Harrisburg Heat, with the Hershey Impact. He was a guy, we actually entered the AISA on the exact same year. He was a veteran of the ASL prior to that, so he had a couple years on him.
Mentioned he's got a lot of Pennsylvania ties, but for the last decade he has largely called Rochester home.
And you take a look at the roster, and he's built this roster with a lot of Rochester guys, and maybe that's why they're gelling so well and having such a good season, is the familiarity between the coach, the system, and this group of players.
Bob was the head coach for a span of 7 years over the last 9 in Rochester. Of course, Rochester not playing this year. They'll play at the Division III level next year, but 7 former Rhinos are on this Pittsburgh roster, and it has reversed the fortunes of this franchise.
And I'll tell you, he was a hard-nosed, tough player. Giving up an early goal like that, he is going to be upset.
Take a quick look at our keys to this match. They are presented by your Central Indiana Honda dealers, the official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11.
Yeah, for Indy, they've got to stay clicked in. They've had a tendency, and you take a look at even last week, end of halves, end of games, extra time, to just give up a careless goal. You can't have that with a team like Pittsburgh. And, you know, it goes without saying, you got to finish your chances. This is a team that doesn't give you many looks at goal. When you get those early looks.
McInerney going for the rather early brace. And frankly, when you've got a keeper that made a mistake like he had done earlier, that's a good look for McInerney.
It really is. It really is. You got a goalkeeper that may be a little between steps in his confidence right now. But you got to finish those chances. And I like these early shots because you've got to be efficient with that since you're not going to get many of them. For Pittsburgh, Coach Lilly said it on the phone today. They know how dangerous the 11 are on restarts. They just can't give up silly fouls in the back and give them free looks. And then they have to be balanced. One of the things that they're known for is defending. And he was very adamant. We're not a team that sits in counters. We've got a balanced attack. And you need that when you start to head into these final stretches of the season. You head into the playoffs. You've got to have offense and defense. And he's proud of the fact that they have both.
Neither of these teams have lost since July. The last loss for Pittsburgh, and this is an amazing stat, their only road loss of the season came July 28th at North Carolina FC. The last Indy 11 loss was the Saturday prior to that against the Tampa Bay Rowdies at Al Lang Stadium, a 3-1 victory for Tampa Bay, a team in Tampa that pretty much has started to slide out of the playoff picture at this point.
And both of these teams are clicking at the time that you need to.
McInerney goes to the turf. Official having none of it. By the way, Malik Badawi is our match referee tonight. Adrian McDonald, Noah Matos, our assistant referees, and Mike Nickerson is our fourth official for this match.
I think Carl Winmet's got some new shoes on. He looks faster in those white cleats.
Both of Winmet's goals this season have come off of set pieces, as you would expect for a center back, and both on exquisite services from Iose. That will be whistled as a foul. Eugene Starikoff draws the whistle, and a set-piece opportunity here.
You talk about set pieces and Winmet coming up. Look at Joe Greenspan. This guy's 6'6" tall. So, of course, opportunities like this for Pittsburgh are great chances to equalize because you bring up a guy who's really strong in the air and a giant.
Greenspan has been one of their better defenders. He's been out because of injury. He's missed 10 matches this season. But you're right, what an outstanding additional target for the Riverhounds. Zemansky sends it in, looking back post. It was Greenspan, but not using that 6'6" frame. He was offside. Again, even if it had gone in, it would not have counted. Let's take a look now at our injury report brought to us by Community Health Network Sports Medicine, official sports medicine provider of the Indy 11. Those are the 4 players you see listed as out. Now, of note, Justin Braun as well as Seth Moses were officially listed as questionable, but they did not make the 18 for this evening's game. And Seth played in Atlanta on Saturday night, so he's the only relatively new injury of that group. Farr and Pasher are both of the long-term injury prognosis, and we hope to see Justin Braun in the next couple of matches as he suffered that hamstring injury back on July 7th in a home victory against the Charlotte Independents. Another team in Charlotte that has somewhat fallen out of the playoff picture as of late. Indy 11 currently 5 points back, or 5 points ahead, I should say, of the team that is in 9th, which would be the Ottawa Fury, as Fawn Williams walks the tightrope of the 18-yard box. And that tightrope is painted in orange this evening. Last 2 home games with the new turf and the football lines visible at Lucas Oil Stadium. Those lines were in yellow. You can see there's additional yellow lines here for the football sidelines. So the turf about as colorful as the old school Denver Nuggets uniforms at this point here at Lucas Oil Stadium. I do.
Holy cow. It's like the old Kansas City Wiz.
That's the reference I should have made. This is a soccer broadcast.
No, you're fine. I apologize. I shouldn't have stepped on that.
Oh, no.
Rake.
We made the Kansas City Wizards reference a couple of broadcasts ago. for the player that plays for North Carolina that was drafted by the Wizards back in 2007. That's 2 Wizards references this month. I like that. Pittsburgh on the attack. Watson, good close down. And Ouimet playing the right back spot. Again, he played center back most of the season without Reiner Ferreira in the lineup. We have seen him kind of slide over from right back or left back if needed. Basically, you put Karl Ouimet on the field because he's one of your best 11 players, period.
I just think his soccer IQ on that back line is incredible. You can put him in the middle. You can put him on the outside. He can play against a technical player. He can play against a pacey player. He can play against a big, strong target.
Spies sends the ball forward for McInerney. Again, McInerney is waved off as he goes to the ground. And that draws the ire of both Martin Rennie and Philip DeSantos on the Indy 11 sidelines. Very well-timed pass by Spies, but not the result the Indy 11 were looking for from the man in the middle of the match. Watson couldn't control that last touch. This portion of the match presented by Community Health Sports Medicine. Keeping athletes at the top of their game. Visit ecommunity.com/sports. Dream big, work hard, and finish strong. Iose unable to keep that ball in play. Pittsburgh has draws in each of their last 2 matches. They were both at home, and they have not played since last Wednesday. 1-1 against the Rowdies. Now a foul called against the Indy 11. And that will draw more ire from the fellows wearing blue tonight.
I think not just the fact that McInerney, in the 11 felt he got run over and there was no call on that. But here was kind of a much softer bit of contact and a late whistle. And those 3 things in combination can get you a bit agitated.
Nico Brett, the player that was fouled, and he has been the more than chief supplier of goals for Pittsburgh this season. 13 of them after spending the majority of the last 2 years with the Portland Timbers' second side in the Western Conference. Again, set piece opportunity. McInerney got there first. Always good to see your leading goal scorer defending as well. And then a rather casual giveaway. That throw-in ended up going over the end line, and a restart here for Indy. Nervous moment here. Mitchell quickly closes the man out, but not out of danger just yet. Mitchell able to get in the way, then Mitchell goes to the turf, and for the first time all evening, the official's arm points the other direction.
Yeah, it's a fast-paced, physical game. I'd say I like the way that the Pittsburgh forwards press. And he spoke on the phone earlier today about the fact that the team has bought into the defensive effort, and it starts at the top. He says our goal scorers are just as excited to track down a ball and trap a team as they are to set each other up.
Brett, originally from Jamaica, but as mentioned, he spent a large chunk of time here in the States. And he played his college soccer just outside of Pittsburgh, while coming back to the Riverhounds was a great move for him. He played at Robert Morris, which is in Moon Township, Pennsylvania. Throw-in coming here for Karl Ouimet. Indy 11 now will play their next 3 matches at home. They will once again be playing at home next Wednesday, but first look at the Richmond Kickers here on Saturday night. A team the Indy 11 have not seen since a season-opening win in Virginia on March the 24th. To give you some perspective how long ago that was, on that day in Indianapolis, we got 11 inches of snow. The heat index yesterday was about 100, so it's been a while since Indy and Richmond faced each other. Mayer's able to win that ball back from Zemansky. Now Mitchell, who did not play against Atlanta United 2 on Saturday night. It was just the second match in which he did not feature this season. He leads the Indy 11 outfield players in terms of matches and minutes played this year. Juan Williams has played every second of the season so far. Starikoff off the races, goes to ground and won't draw the whistle there either. And clearly not happy about it.
I think the 11 right now are struggling a little bit to find some kind of a rhythm. That ball over the top, sometimes when it's so effective early on, you get the goal and then you get another chance off of it. You continue to look to hit that, and what you do with that is you do that and forego a bit of possession, which can kind of find that rhythm. So it'll be interesting to see if they're able to grab the ball, hold the ball for a little bit, and get into a little bit more of a premeditated play as opposed to just knocking it long and seeing if they can get on the other end of it.
Well, frankly, this is playing out in a very similar fashion to the early stages of last week's match against Toronto FC2, where Toronto had the better chances, but Indy found themselves with a two-goal lead. Right. Toronto would level by halftime. And again, you touched on this, and frankly, post-match, head coach Mark Rennie touched on this, about, yes, Toronto had won just 2 times all year, but they were playing much better. That was obviously backed up by them scoring 4 at Louisville last night. First road point of the season for Toronto. Not just win, first road point of the year came last night. Ball at the feet of Luban for the Riverhounds.
Oh,
good looking ball here. Mitchell able to recover quickly, but the attack unrelenting by the Riverhounds.
So fast to the ball.
Ball played across. Volley. More of a whiff for Pittsburgh, and Ioze tries to work his way through the minefield, and then a real estate ball by Watson just to earn some breathing room.
You don't get 2 touches. There's a white jersey on you right when you settle the ball.
This reminder, fans, make sure to tune in every Saturday morning to Soccer Saturday on 107.5 FM and 1070 The Fan. This week, of course, we'll recap this match for the Indy 11, preview Saturday's match against the Richmond Kickers. Also talk about the already started college soccer season. Our friend Paul Snape, the head coach of Butler University, will be joining us. And we'll make a tip of the cap to Indianapolis native Ray Gaddis, who this weekend became the all-time leader in minutes played for the Philadelphia Union. All that and more coming up Saturday morning on 107.5 FM and 1070 The Fan. Great read by Mayers. Mayers, nifty flick to McInerney. Couldn't lift it across to Starikoff. Dylan Mayers now has started in 3 straight matches over the last 8 days for the Indy 11. After being signed from Miami FC 2, now of the NPSL. After he led that team to a championship in a lower division. After spending nearly 2 years away from his home state team and his original professional club. Luban to throw it in. Luban was a teammate of Carl Lamet and Reiner Ferreira last year with the San Francisco Deltas. Von Williams will pounce on that one. Oftentimes, teams that are so reluctant to give up goals, as that'll be an easy play for Mike Kirk to make. But oftentimes teams that don't give up many goals aren't maybe as attack-minded as we have seen from Pittsburgh so far in this match.
Right, and you know, when you see 15 clean sheets and 12 goals against through the run of the season, you think, okay, this is a team that just, you know, clogs things up in the back and then looks for opportunities off of set pieces and counters. And Coach Lilly was adamant, that's not us. That's not us. We defend top to bottom. We defend hard, but we are balanced. We can attack. We can score on anybody. And take a look at the performance so far tonight. It's impressive.
12 goals allowed until this evening. That makes number 13. That's a giveaway by Pittsburgh. So literally they've been averaging allowing half a goal a game. 1-1 draw last time. 0-0 draw the match before that. Both those coming at home. McInerney again goes to ground and gets nothing from it. Spees.
Oh, impressive job, Jack McInerney.
Spees couldn't keep it at his feet. So we have seen 3-2 each of the last 2 Wednesdays. Even with an early goal by the Indy 11. Simply put, that's not happening this season.
No, I'll tell you what, that touch got a little bit away from Nico Brett and Rene Ferreira. Boy, did he close that quickly.
Of course, Ferreira missed most of the season. Returned in late July. Flag goes up. Ferreira was injured in the second match of the season against FC Cincinnati, but he has been a welcomed addition to the lineup.
Oh, he's got a bounce in his step tonight. He looks quick.
By the way, this portion of the match presented by the Room Place. Get it all at the Room Place. Von Williams standing on that blue turf that wasn't blue until the Indy 11 returned from a 39-day vacation from Lucas Oil Stadium. Of course, the Colts played here on Saturday. Preseason victory over the San Francisco 49ers. They're back here next Sunday for their regular season opener against the Bengals.
Wow.
Well done by Mares. Now Starikoff on the long distance run, and you reference the 6'6" frame of Greenspan. The way he closed down that space on Starikoff, impressive.
Starikoff is a pacey player. You don't expect 6'6" to be that fleet of foot.
Greenspan from New Jersey, but spent time last year at the Major League Soccer level with Minnesota United. He was a teammate of Indy's Kevin Venegas, who is available for selection off the bench tonight. It has been kind of a rotation, knowing you've got so many matches in such a short amount of time. Venegas has been playing kind of every other match. Basically, at least 2 of Ferreira, Mitchell, Ouimet have been playing, if not 3. In terms of the positional players, really only Ioze has been the guy that has played in every match. This now 5th in a span of 15 days, with 2 more to come in the next 7.
A really solid job of managing minutes, not just across the back line, but with all players. You take a look, the quality of play hasn't dropped. They're gathering points in every match, and they've been able to rotate, keep fresh bodies, and give guys some rest.
Fan Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit SelectSportAmerica.com. Receive free shipping and orders over $50. Of course, the addition of Dylan Mares helps. And a foul called from behind the play. Of course, there are 2 players that, when we were here last Wednesday, we spoke about, but we're not seeing in uniform tonight. One now playing for North Carolina FC. Our buddy Zach Steinberger was announced he's going on loan to NCFC last Friday. What is he doing his first match?
Wow.
And Carey, 2 goals and assist in North Carolina's 6-2 victory over the Charlotte Independents. And the other player that we'll not see tonight is Elliot Collier. He is on loan from the Chicago Fire. He went back with Chicago as they went to go play an exhibition match against Bayern Munich. Of course, a tribute to Bastian Schweinsteiger's old team. And so Elliott got to go to Germany with Chicago. I believe he'll be back. If he's not in the 18, he should be back this weekend.
What a cool experience for both those guys. I mean, it's a heck of a way to be, introduced to your new club and fan base.
Zach had a goal and an assist during his time with the Indy 11, his second stint with the club. Mares tries to close that down. And eventually, that ball deflected off a Pittsburgh player? Yes, it was. Throw in coming for the Indy 11. Well done by Carlisle Mitchell. It was the first match that Mitchell had missed since back in May. Does not take Pittsburgh long to adapt and go after whomever has the ball. Riverhounds are back in action on Saturday. In fact, this is a very important road swing for Pittsburgh. Not sure if they're planning on going back to Pittsburgh or not. You would think they're just going to head on down to Cincinnati and get ready for a massive match on Saturday. Now, those two teams have actually played an additional time this year because it was Cincinnati that knocked Pittsburgh out of the U.S. Open Cup, getting a win in Pittsburgh 3-1 over the course of the summer.
Okay, this last 10 minutes has been, Indy's found a little bit of footing as far as their possession, and you don't know if it's just come off of the fact that they've pulled back a little bit on some of the direct balls over the top, or is it that Pittsburgh is unable to maintain that high press that they did the first 15-20 minutes.
Ball was deflected. Starikoff was offside. Mentioned the fact that these two teams played each other 3 times. Indy plays Cincinnati 3 times. The same holds true for Pittsburgh. Their regular season match against the top team in the East was played to a 2-2 draw, their first one. And they will play again October the 6th. In fact, the next 4 matches for Pittsburgh are all in very similar fashion to the Indy 11. As far as, who they play extra matches against, they're against the top 6 teams in the Eastern Conference. So there could be some separation at the top of the Eastern Conference table over the next couple of weeks.
And that's how you want it. I mean, you want to be facing those teams that you may be battling in the playoffs. You don't want easy matches. You don't want meaningless games for the other team. You want everybody grinding and polishing and getting ready for the run.
Fans, you can show your Indy 11 pride and get your exclusive Indiana Members Credit Union Indy 11 debit card at any Indiana Members Credit Union branch or online at imcu.com today. Good job of switching the attack by Carl Wommet.
Love that. Love that.
And Iose with a run going. Allowed Starikoff to get onside. Iose goes forward. Indy 11 asking for the handball, does not get the call.
And it was justified the call for it because it lands at the feet. Then Pittsburgh's able to clear it.
Francois trying to settle that ball, has to give up some yardage to do so. Allows the Indy 11 to get several defenders back. Francois. And there's the handball called. Ricocheting off of Iose. There is Zemansky, who is from Akron, Ohio. Spent last year with the Portland Timbers.
His father, head coach of Hiram College in our conference, does a great job out there.
So for those of you who might be watching from Pittsburgh, let me explain Brad's day job. He is the soccer coach at DePaul University at the Division III level. And the Hiram Terriers, a conference rival of the DePaul Tigers in the North Coast Athletic Conference.
Is there a mascot on this planet that you don't know personally?
Only that of the show Coop Dreams. Watson plays this ball forward. Now Nico Mattern, the rookie out of Indiana Wesleyan. First time we have called his name tonight.
Now the effective thing that's happening right now is the 11 are switching the point of attack pretty consistently. When you got a team like Pittsburgh who presses so hard at the ball, that can wear them down.
If you're just joining us, a 4th-minute goal by Jack McInerney on a ball over the top. Goalkeeper probably left his line a bit too early. McInerney will dribble around him and connect from just inside of the 18-yard box. That is the only tally so far in this match. And in the now total of about 120 minutes these two teams have played this season, only goals scored by one against the other so far this year.
We talked earlier about the pace of Greenspan and the way he's, not just a big body, but he's able to close down players and he's got good pace. You can say the same about Carl Wommet. I mean, he's sticking with Francois, who's a really pacey player.
Good distribution here. Brett will play this ball forward. Von Williams off his line. It'll be a goal kick coming. And one of the first times that Pittsburgh will kind of look at the referee and say, hey, wait a minute, there was contact there. Official says no. Von Williams got to the ball first.
Yeah, and I think if that touch might have been a little softer and held up for him to actually get another play on the ball, he might have had an argument for it, but that ball was going out of bounds. There's no way, even if he kept his feet, he was keeping it in.
Greenspan, another sliding tackle. Might as well call him Wingspan, the amount of ground he can cover. Closing down Watson quickly. Sliding tackle by McInerney. Space here for Pittsburgh. Slides it through for Francois. Little give and go. Mattern. That holding midfielder position. As we have said virtually in every match this year, does not play like a rookie. He's a 25-year-old rookie with significant experience in lower divisions in Germany. He played 1 year of American college soccer at the NAIA level and won his job with the Indy 11 after basically being a training camp player. Was offered a contract after 3 days. But on a team with 10 players aged 30 or older, Mattern has been every bit the steady veteran on this team. Zamansky. And a whistle against Pittsburgh. This portion of the match presented to you by Honda Manufacturers of Indiana, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. These two teams will play each other on September the 22nd in Pittsburgh. So there's 24 days from now. Because of the diversity of number of teams in this league, there have been very few turnarounds like that for the Indy 11 this season. Only thing kind of close to that was when they played FC Cincinnati twice in about a 35-day span earlier in the year.
Such a change from last year where we were seeing the same
the next Saturday.
And it was, I mean, it was great on the broadcasting side, and I'm sure as far as coaches' preparation and players, you had such an understanding of each team, how they played, what kind of tactics they wanted to use, when a player was hurt or not. And, you know, the complexity of the USL with 32 teams gives you a lot more different challenges as a coach putting game plans together.
And the Indy 11 had the challenge last week of playing, you know, two of the two teams, of Toronto FC 2, of Atlanta United 2, and you could say, well, that's not really much of a challenge to the bottom two teams in the Eastern Conference. But at the same time, you're not sure what roster you're going to see from teams like that. Ouimet works his way through the minefield. Watson does the same. And a foul going to go back to when Ouimet was dispossessed a moment ago. Chance for Matt Watson to catch his breath. He is the oldest member of the Indy 11. He'll turn 34 on New Year's Day. Well, the native of England, who has spent all 14 years of his professional career playing here in North America after playing 1 year of college soccer at the University of Maryland at Baltimore County.
Boy, Coach Lilly is animated on the sideline. He's fired up.
Pittsburgh was 13th in the Eastern Conference each of the last 2 years. An immediate turnaround with a brand new head coach. Spees sends this in. Quickly cleared. McInerney was the intended target. Now Mattern tries the long ball. Ouimet is onside. Flicks it for the back post.
What a clever ball.
Mattern set him up. And Ouimet nearly had goals in back-to-back games. And as you'd expect with a center back and a player of his size, both of his goals have been with his noggin so far this year, not with the right foot.
What a touch that was.
A little more instruction taking place from Coach Lilly before Luban sends this one in. Luban, a native of Western Pennsylvania, from Erie. And you'll notice several kind of hometown area kids or hometown ties on this Pittsburgh team. This is the 20th year for the Riverhounds franchise. So much like when the Indy 11 played the Charleston Battery this year, you're playing a team with some history behind it. The USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7. Follow at USL on Twitter. After tonight, the Indy 11 have just 4 more home regular season matches remaining. Not the ball that Ferrero was looking to play, but it won't do him much damage. Then after next Wednesday, they'll have 2 home matches left. They need to get to at least the 4th seed in the East. Starikoff goes to the turf. Again, no whistle.
Yeah, I'd take Greenspan just went straight up. I thought he defended that as well as you could.
The advantage of being 6'6". But to get 1 home playoff game, you got to be at least the 4 seed. Francois will track this one down.
He nearly gave up on it. Gave it a second look when it held up on the turf.
Plays it across and nobody on the back post. Goal kick coming for Oline Von Williams. For Pittsburgh, trying to get that 2 seed. They've been leading Louisville most of the summer. With the results of last week, those results kind of flipped. So Louisville's loss last night, it gives Pittsburgh a chance to vault back in front of them, and that, if it stays that way in the table with about 8, 9, 10 games left to go, that could give Pittsburgh as many as 2 home playoff games. Simply put, nobody's catching Cincinnati at this point. They're going to be the 1 seed, but it is valuable for Pittsburgh and even the Indy 11 to play for those 2, 3, and 4 seeds going forward.
Yeah, there's value on a number of levels. One, at that point in the season, that's, you know, 1 less round trip airline. That's another couple less nights in a hotel. That's another couple nights of sleeping in your bed. And then financially for a club, you know, a road trip costs you a whole lot more. So there's so much at stake to get that 2 spot.
Fans, this portion of the match presented by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. Take your business to the next level in a state that works. Miscue here. And I think that ball unintentionally ricocheted off an extended arm was the reason for Adrian McDonald to raise the flag from the assistant referee's position. And with Suni Sun on the bench, we can't bring up this as Suni side territory, but clearly this is Ioze dropping dimes territory for the Indy 11. He leads them with 6. You look at the Indy 11 bench. Ioze an assist on Saturday night. Looking back post, but Kirk had that one read all the way. Yeah,
but that's the ball you got to play. You got a goalkeeper who gave up a shaky one early, and maybe he's found a little bit of footing right now because the game is settled in a bit. But test him, put him on the edge of his range, see if he's going to come out and get the ball.
Kirk had played less than 200 minutes on the season, but did have a clean sheet to his name. Dan Lind is the normal starting goalkeeper. 19 starts and 11 clean sheets on the year. Only 1 goalkeeper has more. That is Crapo of Ottawa Fury, who has 12. And in Ottawa's brief history as a franchise, apparently their rule is you have to have a great goalkeeper in the pipes. It was Pézère the first 3 years, now playing with Penn FC.
That's a good formula to have.
Start with a goalkeeper, work your way up. Francois tries to slide it through. Watson able to quickly track it down.
I tell you, Indy's back line has been on point tonight. I mean, they've been compact. There's been very few channels to play through.
Well, that may be also somewhat due in fact that with Ouimet playing, you really kind of have 3 center backs back there tonight too. Ouimet's playing a right back spot, but probably thinks more like a center back. And Mater never seems to venture too far up the field as a holding mid. Good work by Dylan Mayers. Starikoff goes to the ground. Again, no whistle. Or was there was a whistle. But this is going to head back to Pittsburgh, apparently. And always good for a player to start a conversation with the referee with the phrase, "What is wrong with you?" And that foul's going to go on Mayers for sending the player on the tumble. Watson looking for the long distance ball, finds McInerney. McInerney one touch. That one touch a bit too strong.
What a great look by Matty Watson.
When a team changes a formation in mid, we saw this team play a lot of 4-4-2, maybe a little bit of 4-5-1 occasionally. But to go 4-3-3, what does that do when you kind of shake things up at about the 2/3 point of the campaign?
Depends on your players. You know, do they have an IQ where you can make adjustments like that? That hey, it's nothing. We just got the same problems to solve. We just got guys in different places, or we're going to change the tempo. You know, if you've got players that don't have complexity of thought, it's a little bit more difficult. You know, you got to kind of lead them into it, and it takes a little bit longer of a process. But if you got veteran guys who understand the game and can problem solve well, changing the formation shouldn't be that much of a change for them.
Final 5 minutes plus stoppage time of this first half is brought to you by your Central Indiana Honda dealers, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. Got a very busy halftime show coming up for you. A look at highlights from around the USL. And a highlight from the training pitch for the Indy 11 from last week that if you follow the club on social media, you won't want to miss. That ball played to the side because of an injured player down in Cristiano Francois. He is one of those 7 former Rochester Rhinos on this Pittsburgh club. Originally from Haiti.
Here's a trivia question for you, Ray. The select ball is the official ball of the USL.
Yes.
What country is the company of Select from?
I do not know that, sir. Please enlighten me.
Think about it. Why would I be asking that?
Must be from Denmark, correct?
That's it. That is it.
And again, I always feel like I catch up on our visiting audiences on Brad's life. He just picks up the conversation from where it was last time around. But Brad played professionally in Denmark. Fans, you can download the official Indy 11 app now to be the first to receive breaking team news and highlights, available on the app stores for Apple and Android devices. Brad Russin of the Indy 11 also spent some time playing overseas in Denmark as well.
Right. If you have my connection to Denmark as playing over there and you leave it at that, I'm going to have some problems going home.
And Mrs. Hodder is also a proud native of Denmark. Good evening, Charlotte. Hope you're watching the match this evening.
Our 2 children are half Danish.
Mitchell plays this back to Fawn Williams, and Francois made all lines sweat that out. Nearly drops an on-dime pass to McInerney. Pittsburgh pounces on those 50-50 balls.
They do. They do. Their pace has dropped a little bit here in the second half of this half, but you know, it's frightening sometimes that you got a 15-minute break, because you know that first 15 they're going to come out, and they're going to come out with that ferocity that they did to open the match.
Well, we have seen the Indy 11 win a match earlier this year where the possession was 70-30 in the other team's favor. It was back against North Carolina FC, who was one of the better possession teams in the league, all the way back on April the 7th. I would think a minute, maybe 2 of stoppage time will be added, and we are told it will be 2. Luban couldn't maintain control of that one.
Yeah, that wasn't going anywhere from the first touch.
And that'll be a foul on Ben Speeds. Fans, you can watch highlights of every game from the 2018 season and stay up to date with news from across the USL at the league's official Facebook page, facebook.com/USL Soccer.
Now this is one of those moments right here. You've got a dangerous ball. You've got a team that can equalize here and grab momentum right before half. And the 11 have given up some opportunities like this.
At home to Nashville. At home against North Carolina FC immediately come to mind. So the last 5 minutes of the first half have not been kind to the Indy 11 this season. Luban sends it in. Wasn't exactly good service. And Spies. And again, no whistle given on that contact. Pittsburgh could not keep it in play.
Well, I tell you, that frustrates you as a coach when you've got to restart. You know, and you bring your bodies up and you look to have a good opportunity, and then you don't clear the first defender with the serve.
Throw in coming here for Pittsburgh. This match has not lacked for physicality. Ooh. Pair of players on the turf. Then a player goes down just outside of the 18. And now a whistle is given. And it will be a dangerous set piece opportunity for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds with Francois and Carlisle Mitchell both lying in a heap behind the play. And Malik Badawi will come over and have a conversation with Brian Gerlach, the head athletic trainer for the Indy 11 for some reason.
That doesn't happen often.
No. Foul was drawn by Noah Frankie. Played his college soccer at Creighton University. We've said that a number of times on these broadcasts the last few weeks.
Blue Jays.
Well done, Brad. Francois.
Oh, good
looking
ball.
back post, headed down and headed in.
Greenspan.
And this script has repeated itself multiple times this year. A late goal in the first half equalizes. This time it's for Pittsburgh, but Martin Rennie is more concerned with the team in red right now than the team in blue. Well done. Tremendous service by Francois. Give him the assist.
It's a great serve. You put it up there, you know he's going to go up and get it. And that was a fantastic serve. You just simply can't have it.
So Francois gets his 4th assist of the season. And for Greenspan, it is his first goal of the season. And Martin Rennie is going to make a beeline to our match official. This might be worth the price of admission to watch this conversation right here. Credit to Pittsburgh. They kept pressing the issue and able to get back an early first half goal that was given up and tie the match at 1.
And, you know, credit to Indy 11. They, you know, unfortunately they've been in this position before, but they've also found their way out of this.
So Martin Rennie has something to say to the officiating crew. He'll have something to say to us at the end of halftime. But Greenspan with the equalizer for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and it's all tied up at 1 through 45 minutes of play. Halftime show comes your way next. This one has all the intensity of a playoff matchup. McInerney's 8th goal of the season. But Indy 11 in front, but it's now tied at 1 here on My Indy TV.
You got me? Okay, there we go. You got me? Yeah, I've been on. Yeah, I've been on throughout all of this. Okay, yeah, I've been on throughout. Okay.
Yep. Indy 11 Soccer is Indy 11 Soccer is brought to you by Back at halftime here at Lucas Oil Stadium, Indy 11 and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds all tied up at 1. Thank you for joining us here on My Indy TV and ESPN Plus. More about this game, but as always is the case at halftime, it's a chance for us to take a look at other action around the United Soccer League.
Will send the cross in, and what a goal by USL's leading goal scorer, Thomas Enevelson.
Lancaster, and it's 1-0 to Louisville City.
Rio. Have not drawn a match as Langsdorff has found the back of the net and leveled the tally in the 79th minute, his 14th goal of the season.
Vega. Tevin Vega shooting. Goal! Mendiola!
Big launch with the right.
Oh, Steinberger, second opportunity. Welcome to North Carolina FC. Zach Steinberger has tied it at 1. He has Dabo. Big try. Bingo. Mohamed Dabo.
Cross goal. And the
So a look at some of the highlights around the USL from the previous week at halftime here at Lucas Oil Stadium. Tied at 1 between the Indy 11 and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Tied at 1 after 45 minutes of play here at Lucas Oil Stadium, Pittsburgh Riverhounds and the Indy 11. As always, thanks for joining us on My Indy TV. Alongside Brad Hunter, Greg Rakestraw with you. Thank you so much for being a part of Indy 11 soccer. I guarantee you it's an emotional locker room for Martin Rennie. Yes, he'll be upset at that late goal, but I think some frustration not directed at his team right now.
Right, and you look at it, and Indy has had this problem the last really few matches, giving up these late goals, and so, you know, whatever the argument was on the call, you still have to button things down defensively and prevent that ball from going in the net.
All right, so the score 1-1 here at halftime. Let's show you other scores from around the USL, and these are from last night because we always focus on the scores from the Eastern Conference, and no other Eastern Conference games tonight. So we go to the Crowne Plaza scoreboard by the Crowne Plaza Indianapolis downtown. You've heard us reference that stunner. Toronto scoring 4 in Louisville to beat Louisville City FC 4-1, and Nashville blanking Richmond 4-0. Richmond is the team that is here on Saturday night. So again, those results did have an impact on the top of the table in the Eastern Conference. Louisville City stays put at their point total from last night, but Nashville leapfrogs Ottawa and jumps back into the playoff picture. Right now, they and the New York Red Bulls in spots 7 and 8. News and notes around the USL. Zach Steinberger, as referenced earlier, you saw in the highlight package last segment, what a remarkable debut, being loaned to North Carolina FC. He scores 2, gets an assist, and he was nominated for the Team of the Week.
It's fantastic, too. Such a great guy that you love to see that he gets this opportunity, and then he makes good with it.
Pittsburgh without one of their top midfielders, and as promised, I said his last name once. That's enough. He's not playing in tonight's matchup. But also of note, 2 million fans for the USL, with still anywhere from 8 to 10 games left to go for most teams in the league.
That's fantastic. It shows the growth of American soccer. But I tell you what, they do a great. You take a look at that highlight video. That gets you so excited every week. Whoever puts that together for the USL does a great job.
And of course, 33 teams around the USL, and it's a tremendous note for lower division soccer here in the United States and Canada. Now, on our way to break, we'll take you back to the training ground up at Grand Park from a week ago. We've seen the skills that Iose has had with that left foot all season long. Pretty good using that head, too. If not everybody on the roster, it's pretty darn close. And Iose's now been here for, what, 4 months, 5 months with the Indy 11. I guess he's enough of a Hoosier to make a basket. You'll see in a moment. Back after this. Indy 11 Soccer is brought to you by Community Health, exceptional care simply delivered. Indy 11 Soccer is brought to you by Community Health, exceptional care simply delivered. Community Health Network. By Honda, proud to be the official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. By Turkish Airlines, widen your world. And by The Room Place, get it all at The Room Place. Team's about to return to the pitch here at Lucas Oil Stadium, getting ready for half number 2. We'll show you highlights from half number 1 in just a matter of moments. Let's talk tactics. Anything you expect to see differently to start the half for either side, Brad?
Well, I thought the 11 had some success with that ball over the top early and then got stuck in that for a little bit. And then once they grabbed the possession, it wore the pressure of Pittsburgh down. So I think they'll come out and try and hold the ball a little bit more.
All right, a look back at the goals scored from half number 1. And for the Indy 11, it came early. It came on a bit of a mistake by Pittsburgh that Jack McInerney would quickly capitalize on, his 8th goal of the season.
Such a great ball by Matt Watson to recognize that McInerney was making that run in, and then don't know exactly what Kirk was thinking on that. Trust your defender, let him handle it.
Especially a team that has been just not giving up goals all season long.
Right.
McInerney takes advantage of the open opportunity. The Indy 11 led for the majority of the half. That lead would hold up for about 43 minutes until the waning seconds of the opening 45.
That's such a sinking feeling for the goalkeeper. So, you know, he's in there hoping, hey, can you guys get me off the hook here, get this game level?
And again, if you've got a big target at 6'6", go ahead and use it.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Greenspan just outworked Indy and was able to just tuck his head right in front of the defender and get a little nudge to it.
And you would expect if Greenspan would have played in more than 14 matches so far this year, this frankly would not have been his first goal of the season.
Right, such an impressive target too.
So tied up at 1. Pittsburgh has drawn in each of their last 2 matches. They're both teams looking for the full 3 tonight. Probably the one, maybe a better result for Pittsburgh than it would be Indy. And let's take a look at the match stats. And given how much Pittsburgh has been on the attack so far in this one, a little surprise possession is tilted back in favor of the Indy 11.
Yeah, I think to your eyes you'd think it's the other way, but when you look at Pittsburgh, they're so quick in getting the ball forward that they're really not holding the ball long. They're getting opportunities very, very quickly.
Even with a lack of whistles at times, more fouls were called against Pittsburgh, 8 than 5 for the Indy 11. Martin Rennie is heading towards our sideline interview location. Our coaches' interviews brought to us by Turkish Airlines, the official international airline of Indy 11 soccer. Turkish Airlines, widen your world. So while his team gets ready for half number 2, let's get a quick word from Coach. Obviously disappointed at the way that half ended. Overall, your thoughts about how the team played in the first 45?
Yeah, obviously disappointed with that last little bit there of the half, but overall in the half I thought we did quite well. We scored a very good goal early. Obviously that gives the impetus to the other team a little bit, but I thought we possessed the ball pretty well under pressure, created some decent chances. The one from Carroll just slipping wide was probably the best of those. But yeah, it seems like we've been here before, and so now we need to go out and do well in the second half.
What, if anything, do you change from a tactic standpoint in half number 2?
I just think being aware of where the space is, because there's a lot of players coming to press the ball, but there's decent space for us, and if we keep finding it, then we'll get openings.
Martin, thanks for the time. We'll talk to you after the match.
All right, thank you.
Head coach Martin Rennie of the Indy 11, our Turkish Airlines coaches interview.
You know, one thing that goes through your mind as a coach when your team gives up a late goal like that is how are they going to respond to this adversity. And, you know, the silver lining to the fact that the 11 have put themselves in this hole on a number of bases is you know how they're going to handle it. They've responded well every time.
Well, it's been a 3-2 win each of the last 2 Wednesday nights. In each of those cases, the Indy 11 had a 2-goal lead. It was then tied, and then they would have the go-ahead goal in half number 2. You see Zemansky wearing the captain's armband for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Canardo Forbes, the last player to join in the fray for Pittsburgh. And we are back and underway here for half number 2. In a matchup of teams 3 and 6 in the Eastern Conference table, with for Pittsburgh a chance to get to the 2nd spot on the line. And Forbes, by the way, did come in to replace Noah Frankie. It was Frankie who was fouled at the end of the half that set up the assist from Francois and the goal from Greenspan. So Forbes appears in his 24th match of the season, so he obviously is a usual starter. He's got a little downtime tonight. It's been a 7-day break since Pittsburgh last played, but they do turn around and play again on Saturday night. So they're in a bit of roster management mode this evening as well.
And that's a tough trip for them, Indy and Cincinnati, even though geographically it's close. You're playing 2 really strong teams, and so, you know, for the Riverhounds, grabbing some points tonight is pretty valuable because Cincinnati's just steamrolling teams right now, and you're playing them on short rest.
Pittsburgh's already played Cincy to a 2-2 draw this season. They do have that extra match in the U.S. Open Cup that saw Cincinnati win it. Mayers and Watson draws a quick whistle. And Forbes, who just entered the match with the immediate hand offered to Matt Watson. Forbes, a native of Jamaica. One of the many river rhinos, as some have called this team. One of the 7 members of Rochester a year ago, now playing for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
Did you invent that, or have you heard
No,
that?
I had heard that someplace else.
That's pretty clever.
I'm not that smart. Von Williams sends that one down the field. Womet got ahead to it first. Swept back towards midfield quickly by Pittsburgh. So 2 subs remain for Pittsburgh. The full complement of 3 available for the Indy 11.
You can see the discipline in Pittsburgh defensively. I mean, they move as a unit. When Francois and Nico Brett go to press, the midfield is tucked right in behind them. The back line is moving. They're moving as such a unit.
Good job by Mitchell to deflect that ball off of Francois. That'll be a foul whistle against Indy. Let's see if the tenor of the whistle changes a little bit here in half number 2. Because it could probably best be described as sporadic in the first half.
That might be the exact word that Coach Rennie used in his closing statements at halftime.
Probably not. Iose.
He is so good on the ball.
And draws the foul from Zemansky. And clearly, as you can see, Iose, a left-footed dominant player. But he is so technically sound with it, even though he doesn't really want to go back to that right, it doesn't matter. He's so good with the left.
In his vision, he understands where the pressure's coming from. He understands where the space is. He knows how to get into it. And he's got the technical skill to be able to execute.
And Dylan Mayers takes a wallop from the aforementioned select soccer ball. And Mayers has gotten the start now in all 3 games. He has been available to the Indy 11. Got the game-winning goal last Wednesday. And clearly you can tell that was an inadvertent. Ball ricocheting off of Mayers from Mohamed Dabo, who made an appearance with his goal against Tampa Bay Rowdies in our highlight package at halftime. I like the beard that he had, by the way, last week.
Now it's got the retro look of the young lad that started here in 2014.
Good point. Mayers quickly waved back on. Spees on the same page with Mayers. Mayers was kind of hanging by the midway line, hoping to maybe poach an opportunity.
Oh,
here's Nico Brett with a left foot. And Von Williams got a hand to it. We really haven't called his name that much tonight. As you can see, it did not take much time for him to create a scary opportunity for the home team.
Clever ball. I think Jordan Dover just slid him in, and what a hit by Brett.
It may not have been inside the frame, but obviously Von Williams could not take that opportunity. McInerney got there first. And that's the 2nd or 3rd time we have said that about a corner kick for Pittsburgh, that McInerney was the player that led it the best. Good looking cross here. Womet will boot that ball back to midfield. Zemansky waiting for it on the wing. Not the clearance Indy was looking for, but good job in dealing with that cross inside of the box by Mater. Five wins, 4 draws, 1 loss in 10 previous road matches for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. This portion of the match presented by Community Health Sports Medicine. Keeping athletes at the top of their game. Visit ecommunity.com/sports. Dream big, work hard, and finish strong. Pittsburgh has 4 home matches remaining. One of them against the Indy 11. They will close with 4 of their last 5 away from home.
And if you got 1 loss on the road, you're okay with that.
Now, usually that's a detriment. That's not the case for this group. Not that they have been poor at home by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, they got 2 losses. It's twice as many, Rick.
It's hard to argue with that logic. Able to work that ball around Ioze. Mayers hustling back. He will slide it just outside of the 18. Sent across, and Brett was the intended target. Mitchell got in the way. And Francois will race out to the opposite corner for another corner kick for the Riverhounds.
Actually, a good read, good tackle by Ioze. Just an unfortunate bounce. Wound up right back at the feet of Zemanski.
Francois already with 1 assist tonight. Greenspan works his way towards the 6. Got a head down, didn't get through. And Fawn Williams able to pounce on it as Hugh Roberts got tangled up with a couple of Indy 11 players. Couldn't really go after that rebound. Ioze sets up the defender, waits for him to commit, and then dribbles right around. That defender is Jordan Dover. Another former member of the Rochester Rhinos. And Indy played a game at Rochester Stadium against Toronto FC 2 back in mid-June. The Rhinos will return to the Division III level next year. Opportunity here that gets airmailed. One that Brett would like to have back.
Yeah, and you can see Fawn Williams is asking for the line to be pressed a little bit higher. You can't give the leading scorer a look from 25 yards out, and the defenders are 5 yards off because it screens the keeper, gives the windows a little bit more opening.
With 13 goals, Brett is tied for 6th in the lead in goals scored. Cameron Lancaster of Louisville City FC and Thomas Enevoldsen, each with 16 to begin the week. Enevoldsen plays for Orange County SC. McInerney has added 1 tonight. He leads the Indy 11 with 8. Matt Watson. Watson the target. Greenspan got there first. Ball towards the back post. McInerney in pursuit. Good build up here, and McInerney draws the foul. Well done by McInerney. Foul committed by Mohamed Dabo. This was an Indy 11 team that seemingly was only scoring on set pieces earlier this season. It has not been the case as much as of late. But this is in Ioze territory.
And you look, he's got 4 goals on 10 shots. And all those shots have not been off of restarts. So you're looking at a guy that's around 40–50%.
McInerney's made 1 of these as well. And what a save. Well done.
Held it.
Mike Kirk prevents the rebound.
Well, he's back in the game. That's one of the things you look for in a goalkeeper is, hey, you're going to make mistakes. How do you bounce back? How do you handle that next one? Those hands right there, he's good.
Colts fans hope to see similar diving catches in that end zone throughout the course of the season.
Speaking of Colts, congrats, my friend.
Thank you.
On your first Colts play-by-play game?
First NFL game I had a chance to call last Saturday night here in this very booth. Get to have the Colts and Bengals again tomorrow night down in Cincinnati. This portion of the match presented by Denny Excavating. Denny Companies tearing down the past so you can build the future. Met the target. Greenspan again. will get to a higher point than Ouimet can and got there first.
Yeah, I'm not sure that serving into Greenspan's zone is going to be an effective play for restarts. I think you're going to have to find a different seam to play the ball into.
Mitchell play that ball quickly over to Ouimet. Ouimet gets the start tonight in place of Kevin Venegas, who is available if needed as a substitution. The attack-minded subs tonight for the Indy 11. Suni Saad, Juan Guerra would be of that ilk. Mayer is able to work that ball around Zemansky. Now Ben Speeds.
There you go.
Plays it to the left side to McInerney. McInerney can get it across to Starikoff. He's open, just didn't have an angle to slide it through to him. Now Jose adds to the attack. Speeds lifts it, but a Greenspan just takes up so much space.
Oh boy.
Problem here. And dribbling around Fawn Williams, Francois scores. And each team has an open net goal in this match. Francois with an assist, followed by a goal, and Pittsburgh has jumped in front by a score of 2-1.
Unfortunate touch. Just caught Fawn Williams in no man's land.
So both teams headed in that direction. Get the beneficiary of a freebie. And now the Indy 11, just to get a point, will have to do something that very few teams have done this year, and that's score 2 on Pittsburgh. They have given up 2 previously, having done so against Cincinnati and against Tampa Bay, and both of those occurred on the road. They also gave up 2 at North Carolina the last time that Pittsburgh lost a match. It's been done 3 times this season, but to win, at least it would have to be 3-2 for the Indy 11. Opportunity here. Watson slides it through, but Kirk does a good job of ensuring that ball does not get to McInerney.
Yeah, it's a solid play. That goes across, and it's in the back of the net, and this is level again. But you look at the pace that Matt Watson spent in that play to outwork the defender to get the ball and slot it across the middle. That's impressive.
It does look like Suni Saad will be the first Indy 11 substitution, and he is headed towards the 4th official as we speak. What you can do if you're the Indy 11 is allow a 3rd. Francois plays it across, deflected away by Ferreira. So both teams with a giveaway goal. It is the set piece right now that is the difference in this one, as we hit the 61st minute. But before this play is restarted, Suni Saad will enter. And apparently both he and Dylan Mayers took a trip to the barber shop this afternoon. That is as clean shaven as we have seen Suni this year. He has 4 goals this season for the Indy 11, but he's been sitting on that number now for a while. And immediately Jose tries to find the former member of Sporting Kansas City. This portion of the match is presented by the Room Place. Get it all at the Room Place. A goal for Francois, by the way, his 4th of the season. He is the 2nd leading goal scorer now for Pittsburgh, behind Brett's 13.
Good turn.
Spees weaves his way through traffic with 3 sets of eyes locked on him.
Look at how quick that double team comes.
They close down available real estate quickly, do they not?
They do. It's impressive.
Jose trying to work his way to the byline on this one. Eventually Spees gives it across, and that will be a corner for the Indy 11. And you really have 3 target players in there currently with Ferreira, Mitchell, and Ouimet. And all 3 of those gentlemen make their way inside of the 18. Iose looks for a 7th assist of the season here. And Pittsburgh got there first. Archer was trying to play that ball to Iose, but he and Iose not on the same page. Indy 11 have not lost at home since July the 4th. This Ottawa Fury FC. Brett goes to the turf, but that has been a non-call going in both directions all night. Mares for his goal total on this young campaign with the Indy 11 to match that number on the back of his uniform. He wore 6 in his last stint with the Indy 11, wore 22 in his rookie season 4 seasons ago. Well done
Good
by
touch.
Ouimet. But then he's going to commit the foul.
Yeah, there's some frustration on that. I don't fault him for.
Take another look at it here.
You're looking, and Roberts was going down a little bit on his own, and I think you would have had an argument on a no call from Coach Lilly.
Soon he saw the target.
Wow.
Perfectly placed ball. Saad trying to work his way around Kirk. Kirk gets enough to it. And again, just enough traffic by Pittsburgh in front of Kirk where Saad never got a good look on goal.
What a great ball over the top.
Now Mater. By the way, this portion of the match presented by Honda Manufacturers of Indiana, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. Ferreira wins the physical challenge. Kirk quickly off his line to make that play. And ever since the one mistake he made to begin this match, he has been fantastic for Pittsburgh.
He looks quick. He looks confident. Sure-handed. Played that one well. He played the ball across well. Got enough of it to slow it down.
And that was a good job by the defender in Pratzner for Pittsburgh to not panic, to not, take the man down.
Right.
Let your keeper do his job. There could have easily been a jersey tug or something along those lines there, and it never happened. Both teams have been quick on the restart tonight. Fans, you can download the official Indy 11 app now to be the first to receive breaking team news and highlights available on the app stores for Apple and Android devices. Spees draws the whistle there. Wasn't sure if we were going to see this many goals in this match. From the Indy perspective, you're hoping for at least one more. McInerney will give chase. McInerney with a brace earlier this month in the 2-2 draw against Louisville. Forbes plays this ball forward. Riverhounds able to track it down. Dabo plays it forward.
Oh,
staying on side, played across. Vaughn Williams.
Great save.
Gets his hands on it and then snags the ball on the rebound. One thing we have seen is it does not take much in the way of space or even possession for Pittsburgh to get a quality look. They have matched their resume with how they have looked and played this evening. Bratzner gives it off for Dover. Looking back post.
Great decision.
Able to shepherd that ball away for a goal kick for Fawn Williams.
Good flexibility, I thought there. You know, looking to clear it out, maybe give a throw in, maybe just nudge it over the line for a corner kick. Saw that ball come off the ground with some spin on it and just decided I'm going to shield this ball out.
Fans, stay up to date with all the best from social media around the USL by watching Off the Post with Kelsey Steele every Friday evening on the USL's social media channels. For the first time in a couple of weeks, Friday will not involve a trip for the Indy 11. They have been on this kind of beat of playing at home on Wednesday, then on the road on Saturday. We get to stay at home this week yet. Next to last Saturday home game of the regular season for the Indy 11. They play host to the Richmond Kickers here at 7 o'clock. Of course, you can watch it right here on My Indy TV as well as ESPN Plus. Next three are at home for Indy. Next road game will be at Penn FC 2 weeks from tonight. And Penn is a team that is outside the top 8, but because their schedule is so backloaded with home games over the last 2 months of the season, they still have a fighting chance of making it just because they don't leave Harrisburg for about the last 6 weeks of the year.
And they got a couple things that you need for a serious run. They got a veteran solid goalkeeper, and they got a goal scorer who's hot.
Zemansky goes to the turf. No whistle either direction. Vance Braden is Indy 11's preferred technology and office equipment provider. BradenOnline.com. Braden Technology that drives your business. '18th year as a head coach for Bob Lilly on the sidelines.
You know, his time in Rochester, did that overlap with Christian Neek?
It would have, yes. Now, actually, Christian was there in 2013, so no, it was the time that Bob was away. Spent 2 years away from being the head coach of the Rhinos. Did Bob?
He's just like he was as a player. He fights for everything. Fights for, you know, the throw in, the position on the field.
Bears trying to play that ball forward to Iozek. Opportunity here. Francois to the right. Ferreira just didn't move.
That's great. I'll tell you though, Indy's got to be careful. They're giving up a little bit more space on counterattacks than they were earlier in the match.
That has been the move for Indy 11 center backs all year, is to not kind of bite on that fake. Just hold your ground. More often than not, that's been a successful play for him. Each team with 2 remaining substitutions. Jack McInerney imploring his teammates to press a bit more.
Yeah, when that back line stays back, the gaps between the midfield and the forwards becomes too big, and you know, any team with any kind of quality can just keep knocking it around you, and you're running, you're spending energy, and you're getting nothing for it. So you really need, when the forwards start pressing, you need the back line to push in behind them, tuck in behind them, push the midfield up so that the runs, the shift, the switches of players are 5 to 10 yards instead of 15 to 20.
And even with the indoor conditions, roof is closed tonight. 5th time that has been the case for the Indy 11 this season here at Lucas Oil. You wonder if finally that 5th match in 15 days, we haven't seen any signs of that the previous 4 matches. Is it finally starting to catch up with them here, knowing you got 2 more the next week? For them, the schedule normalizes again in September. Mayer's trying to find an inkling of space. There hasn't been much of that tonight.
There
Bit
you
of
go.
a miscue there. Left foot. No.
Wow.
Kirk able to make the play. McInerney puts it back to space where there wasn't an Indy 11 player, and Martin Rennie turns his head in frustration. First mistake in some time by Pittsburgh, and Indy could not capitalize. And then Watson called for the foul on Dover.
That was impressive. You've got the right guy for the 11 on the ball in the right spot, and Kirk was on point.
It seems that Kirk may have made his mistake early in this match and may not make another one.
Holy cow, he's riding some confidence right now.
And just how talented is the goalkeeper's room in Pittsburgh? Whew. Your #1 goalkeeper in Lind has 11 clean sheets. Your #2 in Morton hasn't allowed one in 270 minutes this year. Left foot doesn't get through. Right foot also does not get through because Fawn Williams makes a kick save on a second opportunity. Let's see if that launches for the Indy 11. They've got numbers here. They've got a 4v3 advantage. But by playing it back to the midfield, it slows things down a little bit. Mayers heads it forward. Saad won't win the foot race. Kirk got there first. You just sense a bit of tired right now from the Indy 11. Pittsburgh last played 7 days ago. And Martin Rennie has managed the roster over the last 2 weeks as best he could with this diabolical stretch of the schedule. Fans, for standing stats on the latest league news, be sure to visit USLsoccer.com. A second substitution about to enter for Pittsburgh. Ray Lee about to enter the contest. He's still getting some final instructions from Bob Lilly. Stop me if you've heard this before. Ray played for Rochester a season ago.
Well, you know what, as a coach here, you got to ride out 15 minutes. You want guys that you trust, that you know that can handle it.
On Saturday night, a point didn't feel like much for the Indy 11 in Atlanta. A point tonight would feel like a lot.
That would be huge. To put up 2 on Pittsburgh, that would be huge. And to do it here in the last 15 minutes.
Iose. Lay it off for Mayers. Mayers trying to make the turn, earns the corner.
What a turn. What a turn.
We've seen that from Dylan Mayers before.
There's so many weapons at his disposal.
Tonight is the 83rd appearance in an Indy 11 uniform for Dylan. 4th in franchise history. He is the 3rd leading goal scorer in franchise history. Luban, the player that will exit for Pittsburgh. They have 1 substitution remaining. Indy 11 left with 2. Brickyard Battalion doing their part to encourage on the boys in blue. Indy 11 has scored multiple goals in their last 3 home matches. They'd like to extend that streak to 4. As per usual, Iose will take the corner. Sends it in. Looking back post.
Wow.
Headed across.
Are you kidding me?
Kirk again. But the flag was up on that second touch from Wilmette. He has more than atoned from his mistake from earlier. He has been tremendous. And Wilmette was offside when that ball was played to him by Ferreira.
Wow.
Kirk doing a good job of taking some time here before hitting the reset button. His first ever USL appearance came in a victory against the Bethlehem Steel 2.5 weeks ago. Played last year for Rio Grande Valley, but did not make an official appearance with that team.
And you see, look how the last 7 to 10 minutes has unfolded. You've had Mayers walk in on Kirk, great save. You've had a corner kick with a great header to the back post and a great opportunity on frame. The 11 is knocking on the door.
Juan Guerra about to enter the match for the Indy 11. As Brad Ring will do the same. McInerney takes a bad deflection off of him. It'll be a goal kick. So Ring got the start against Atlanta on Saturday. He and Matt Watson almost kind of alternated Wednesday, Saturdays as of late. Guerra more of the attack-minded sub. Although Ring is due for his yearly goal. He's had one in each of the last 4 seasons. Saad gives chase, but headed right back to the feet of Kirk, and he'll just play that with his feet, just take a little more time off the clock. This is Lee. Watson will be one of the players that will head to the sidelines for the Indy 11. In fact, it'll be the 2 of the 3 midfielders that will exit as Ring and Guerra come in. Mattern and Watson will head out. So the idea basically will be fresh legs of Guerra going forward, the skill of Mayers going forward, and Ring to hold the fort behind the play.
And the fresh legs that are provided there in the midfield gives a little bit of support, both defensively and with the ball, to that front line that's working so hard to try and get repossessions against Pittsburgh's back line.
With the subs that will not be used tonight for the Indy 11, Russin, Venegas, Nathan Lewis, and the goalkeeper in Ben Lundgaard. And Lundgaard on loan from the Columbus Crew. He has yet to appear in a match this season for the Indy 11. Iose tried the crossfield pass that was read well by Pittsburgh. Fawn Williams at the edge of his 18 will snag that before Nico Brett can get close to it. It was a game winner in the 90th minute 2 weeks ago for the Indy 11. It was 2 points lost in the 96th minute against Atlanta on Saturday. Indy hoping for at least a point out of this. To extend their mark to 3 wins, 4 draws, and no losses in the month of August. It would still stay a point behind
Good bounce.
Bethlehem if they can get 1 tonight. And if Pittsburgh hangs on to this, they will go back in front of Louisville into the 2nd spot in the Eastern Conference. Mayers.
It's a massive 3 points for either team.
Yep. Managing an inside look at life on and off the field from a player's perspective every Wednesday evening. The latest edition of From the Pitch, it's at uslsoccer.com. Speeds. Slides it forward for Mayers. Mayers tried to play it across. Didn't hit it the way that he wanted to. You got to wonder, Mayers is playing in his 3rd straight match. Is his tank on E at this point? Mayers at 75% is still better than most. Mitchell. Good touch by Guerra. McInerney, a little give and go with Ouimet. Ouimet tries to find Guerra. Well defended by Pittsburgh. A phrase that has been common throughout the USL this year. Well defended by Pittsburgh. Looking back post. Kirk had to get a hand to it just to be sure. Another corner coming. Iose sends it in. Greenspan got there first. Spees trying to settle. That was an extended arm and a late whistle, but the right whistle.
Correct.
Inadvertent butt played with his arm by Francois. And Iose kind of has his choice of options here. And given the miles on this team's legs over the last few weeks, taking your time here to catch your breath might not be bad. They go quick though. Mares.
Yeah, and to be honest, I like that play. I think you keep it away from Greenspan. Instead of a 50-50 ball that you have less than a 50-50 chance on, you give it to arguably the best player on the field in Dylan Mares and hope that he can create something off of it.
Opportunity here. 3v3. It's offsides.
Yes,
and
great
Brad Ring, who can play some center back or even right back from time to time, played a very high line to win that ball back for the Indy 11. Of course, Brad extends his Indy 11 record for match appearances every time he takes the field for Indy. Over 110 in his career now. Saad between the two center backs. Now Guerra trying to get it right back to Saad. Ring will settle. Iose wants the ball left side. They'll play through Ferreira first. Slides it through for McInerney. And right back to Ferreira. Spees. And that's been a non-call all night. That'll be a call on McInerney. More of a frustration foul than anything else. We'll see the third and final substitution. Toby Adewale will enter. And Nico Brett will not get a goal tonight. And I would say that Indy 11 did a pretty good job of limiting his opportunities. Had one nervous moment with that left foot early in the second half. One of the axioms in sports is don't let the other team's best player beat you. Indy 11 has it, and Pittsburgh still leads 2-1.
They did do a nice job on him. I think, outside of the first 15 minutes of this second half where he got free a couple times, they did a great job on keeping him contained. I think Francois has been a handful up front. He's been the difference maker for Pittsburgh in the attacking third.
Francois. Good move by Dover. Plays it across. Mitchell got there first, but a corner coming for Pittsburgh. Our final 5 minutes plus stoppage time of this second half is presented by your Central Indiana Honda dealers, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. Zemansky not exactly in a hurry here. Doesn't need to be.
That might just be a possession ball, if anything else.
Mitchell, and that might be the first a red
Whoa.
card. Oh my goodness, a straight red. So now the Indy 11 will play a man up for the final 4 minutes plus stoppage time. And this could be the rare match without a yellow, but a red card. So Lee, who was a sub just a few minutes ago, take a look here. That's clearly a foul. I would probably agree with the card in terms of a card.
Right.
Is that a straight red violation?
I don't know that you give that. Yeah.
But the Indy 11 might be the benefactor. As much as we said that Dylan Mares at 75% is better than most, Pittsburgh defensively with 10 men is better than most. Certainly it might change what Pittsburgh's looking to do going forward. But from a defensive structure standpoint, they will probably remain the same. Kirk likes to head that one away instead of catch it.
Not sure about that.
Ferreira sizing up his options, and again, Francois quickly closed him down. Now, Francois has been the man of the match, no doubt about that.
Yeah, he's changed the complexion of this. His pressure's been relentless. He's been creative with the ball, and certainly the game winner right now.
Francois wins that away from Ring and then draws the foul. They'll point back to a previous foul back at midfield. And the instructions from the sidelines are already being given. Hey, you got a chance? Take a ball to the corner at this point, playing down a man. And on cue, where's that ball go? To the corner. Then it proceeds to hit the corner flag. By the way, we have referenced Bob Lilly numerous times, as we should, for Pittsburgh. They do have a rather famous assistant coach we probably ought to reference at some point as well.
That is a familiar name.
It is now. That would be Mark Pulisic. You've probably heard of his son. You know, the one that might be the best player in the history of United States men's soccer at some point in time. Of course, Christian plays for Borussia Dortmund. There you get a look at coach. 4 minutes of added time. Mark lived with Christian over in Dortmund for a couple of years, but as he turned 18, Mark came back here. He's quick to point out, hey, this is what worked for us. Don't look at what we've done with Christian as kind of, this is the formula, is how it's going to work for everybody going forward. Been very impressed by both he and his son, not just in terms of his son's playing ability, how they've handled his fame and his somewhat meteoric rise. Of course, the U.S. will begin. Here's an opportunity for Sooney Saad. Saad plays it forward for McInerney. Just could not time it out. And just a fraction off. But to finish the thought, the United States will begin that long and arduous journey back to the World Cup, as the first series of friendlies for the next World Cup cycle begins next weekend. U.S. plays next Friday night.
Pretty excited. One of my former players is just got named the men's national team coach for Turks and Caicos.
Jose couldn't maintain possession. Into the corner goes Dover.
Smart play.
Yep. It's their only chance that we'll see the Riverhounds in this season. Indy, these two teams will play again on September the 22nd, but our only chance to broadcast an Indy 11 Pittsburgh fixture. The numbers tell you how good they are coming into it. Your eyeballs tell you the exact same thing in watching them play. One minute out of 4 completed for stoppage time. And the 11 looking for their first unbeaten month since 2016. But to do that, they've got to get at least one here. Bears. A little too strong on that one. And the offside flag was up for McInerney anyway. If this one does not go the way you hope in the final 2.5 minutes, kind of the question becomes for Martin Rennie, kind of how do you quickly move on from a disappointment in this one to get ready for, again, not as good of a team in Richmond, but still the next opportunity in 3 nights. Richmond played last night on the road in Nashville, lost by 4. And Richmond, one of the handful of teams in the East that really is not in the playoff picture right now.
The tough part with that is not just getting your recovery in, and making sure that you're putting yourself in the best physical position to manage that game, but then, psychologically getting yourself, back into the correct mindset. And then you're playing a team that's struggling right now, and to make sure you don't take that for granted.
Didn't go the way it wanted to for Suni Sai. Next Wednesday, it is another potential playoff opponent in the New York Red Bulls, too. A team that frankly handed it to the Indy 11 when they played the day before Memorial Day. It was a 4-1 loss at Red Bull Arena for the Indy 11 that day. Ring. Now Spees trying to find McInerney. McInerney slides it past and gets the tying goal in the 94th minute. His 9th goal of the season, his 2nd brace of the month. Worth taking your shirt off for, Jack McInerney.
What a ball by Ben Spees. Oh my goodness.
Not many times you get a brace separated by 90 minutes in a match.
That's almost impossible. Wow.
He had a brace on his birthday on August the 5th in a 2-2 draw against Louisville. It's not his birthday, but he has, as of now, a brace in a 2-2 draw, and one that will feel like a win if this score holds up.
And he's just got to be gassed. He's been pressing the last 15 minutes trying to get a repossession to get an opportunity on goal.
And speaking of Louisville, they are cheering for Jack McInerney right now as this takes 2 points away from Pittsburgh and puts those two teams level at 46 points and level in terms of matches left to play in 9. And for that young man in Mike Kirk, frankly, he has played better than that scoreline at 2-2 would indicate. Maybe chance for one final push here for the Indy 11. Seconds at most left to go in this match.
How about another 3-2 game?
No one has scored 3 on Pittsburgh this year. That is of little concern to the Indy 11 right now.
Oh.
Ball flicked down.
Wow.
And that will be another corner. And Iose wants it. And if you're Indy 11, send everybody forward other than Owen Fawn Williams.
And you have to believe this is it. It's either over the line, in the back of the net, or the whistle blows.
3rd goal in the 90th minute or later this year for the Indy 11. Pittsburgh plays a man down. Flick down. McInerney will settle. Plays it across. Too strong for Saad. It'll be another corner. Well, the Indy 11 thought there may have been a bit too much added time on Saturday, but they will not get an opportunity here.
Oh.
And immediately here comes the protest from players, from the bench. It will be a point for each team, but it will be a point of discussion for the Indy 11 with the league office, the way the end of this match was adjudicated.
I can't tell you that I've ever seen that before.
Well, this match has run the gamut of emotions, and frankly, you can see it from even the assistant referee. And the head of the officials crew says to the locker room, guys, nothing good will come from you hanging out at this stage of the match. Lots to feel good about, though, if you're Martin Rennick. Not happy with the lack of the last opportunity, not happy with some of the calls in this match, but given the way that things unfolded, you'll gladly take the point, and both these teams exit this match undefeated in the month of August.
That's incredible. Incredible finish. I mean, the way that this game, you write the script of this game, and it's unbelievable.
2 for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, 2 for the Indy 11. And they have played twice with both teams splitting the points this season. They'll play one more time on September the 22nd. Final thoughts on this one when we come back Jack McInerney finds the back of the net twice for the Indy 11. Indy 11 Soccer is brought to you by Indy 11 Soccer is brought to you by Community Health. Dream big, work hard, finish strong. Community Sports Medicine, official sports medicine provider of the Indy 11. By Honda, proud to be the official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. By Turkish Airlines, widen your world. And by The Room Place, get it all at The Room Place. Just the fourth time this season that a team has scored multiple goals in a league match against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Jack McInerney scores them both, one in the 4th minute, the other in the 94th minute, and the Indy 11 claims a late point tonight from Pittsburgh.
Such a valuable point, and I'll tell you, the way that McInerney is playing in the second half of the season is phenomenal.
Quick look at the end of match stats in this one, as the Indy 11 get their 41st point of the season. For the Riverhounds, they now sit on 46 points for the year. Possession again tilted more in favor of the Indy 11 in the second half. You saw a few more whistles in half number 2 as well, but those numbers about as even as tonight's match would indicate.
Yeah, and I tell you, both of these teams, should be headed to the playoffs. Both of these teams should have hopefully a long run in it. Both of them are playing their best soccer of the season right now.
So with that, the Indy 11, the gauntlet continues. They will play the Richmond Kickers next on Saturday night at 7 o'clock here at Lucas Oil Stadium. Brad and I are back for that one on both My Indy TV and ESPN+. Your final thoughts on this one?
Impressive. Every time you start thinking they've put themselves in a hole that they can't get out of, they find a way to scratch and claw and get out of it.
So joining us during the postgame show will be the multiple goal scorer in Jack McInerney. Team captain Matt Watson, in fact, is standing by. He'll join us after our next timeout. And, of course, we'll also hear from the head coach in Martin Rennie. An exciting one for a third Wednesday in a row. It is not the full 3 points, but it is a solid result against one of the better teams in the league. For Jack McInerney, goals 8 and 9 of the season. And both teams now go into September having not lost a match since July. Final score from Lucas Oil Stadium this evening. The Indy 11 2. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds 2. This one as good as advertised coming in. Stay tuned. Central Indiana Hunt Dealers postgame show comes your way next.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.